Oh, does he have the new graphics card?
This
It's so loud.
is the brand new NVIDIA RTX 5090. It's the most powerful. Games have had atomic scale, so it's becoming more about. Holy cow. And that like pristine level of detail even retains in the reflections on the water. You can see the population density's gone up. This actually somewhat feels like a real buzzing city. I actually really like the film grain effect that you get, even though it does add a slight bit of haziness. You see the lens flares. And the material quality has also stepped up a level. I can both see through.
Chat, people really like the reflections, don't they? And by they, I mean you guys. You fucking love reflections.
This glass, but I can.
People basically these days people say, is it a good game or not based on the amount of reflections that there are in the game? Like it's dystopian as
all
fuck.
of the micro reflections of all the LED signs from the other side. I mean, I know this tech has already been out for a couple of years now, but it's seeing the change in experience compared to what you could get.
But it's blurry as fuck when it goes around. When you look around, everything's blurry and fucking grainy and DLSS or whatever. But the reflections though, dude, you could see the sky reflecting on the water on the puddle that goes on the glass. Like, look, this is insane.
Years
like,
ago.
what?
It's visual overload, isn't it? There's so much happening in one frame. One of the most impressive things is the shadows on the gun. Every single raised area of the gun casts its own individual shadow on the rest of it. That's just wild. This is far, far beyond the expected 30% biannual improvement that you used to get back in the day. And then to be able to have that while the frame rate is practically locked at 60 frames per second, it feels like a trick. And that's because technically it kind of is, but I'm getting there. Can't forget about our benchmark. So RTX 4090 on Steel Nomad, it's way above even 60 frames per second, let alone 30.
Hold on, let me see
We
this
are
first.
absolutely chilling here, which gives us a score of 8,758. So that is 2.8 times the performance of the 2080 Ti and 57 times the performance of the 980. All leading us to the latest and greatest, the RTX 5090. And the benefit of showing you all the previous cards leading up to it is that now we have the full context to be able to jump through. Now, I wouldn't call that a staggering jump, but it's definitely still a substantial jump. That's 1.6 times the 4090 and then about 90 times the card from a decade ago.
1.6 times. I mean, that's
And remember,
pretty good.
that's really just the raw processing power. That's more cores, that's better cores, that's the faster memory.
Wait, does Lance have a better video about this? Really, dude?
It's here. It is ripping fast, and it's $2,000 US. But in exchange for your least favoritist of kidneys, NVIDIA promises that their brand new GeForce RTX 5090 will deliver a level of performance that obliterates their only real competition. NVIDIA, more GPU cores? Boom. More VRAM and faster VRAM? Boom, boom. Enhanced RT and AI cores, wider memory bus, and PCIe Gen 5? Boom, boom, boom. On top of that, NVIDIA has packed in a deep learning super shed load of new features that I would love to tell you about, but unless NVIDIA also invented AI teeth extraction, I won't be able to. So instead, I leave this review in your capable hands. See you later.
I got it. First up, graphics performance. Let's cut to the chase.
Instead of being scammed online, I found a way to prevent you from falling into traps when you buy and sell GPUs. Our sponsor Java is a
Across our suite of games at 1440p, the 5090 never falls flat on its face, obviously, but still manages to be underwhelming. In the Vulkan-based Red Dead Redemption 2, we see less than a 10% improvement over the 4090, and that lackluster uplift is repeated in F124. More problematic is the embarrassingly small 30% lead over the 7900 XTX, which frequently goes for a little over 2/5 of the price. Oof. And Returnal doesn't bring better news. But as we move on to newer, more graphically intensive games, the 5090 does start to pull away from the pack. In the gorgeous thriller Alan Wake 2, it beats the 3090 Ti by more than double and looks great in Black Myth Wukong, beating the 4090 by 27%. Cyberpunk is another strong point compared to the previous generations, but as low as they are on the chart, it's worth noting AMD's strong performance per dollar in this game, at least when ray tracing isn't enabled. We'll get to that later. For now, this might be obvious, but if you are a 1440p player, the 5090 is overkill with the current crop of CPUs. If you're on the latest 9800X3D, you might find that the 5090 exerts a little bit more of a commanding lead, but I think that anyone with this setup should be putting their money into a new monitor rather than a new CPU. Let's move on to 4K testing, where the CPU bottlenecks are less likely to rear their ugly.
Chat. Anybody say anything? Is anybody gonna say anything? 1080p delivers overall a better user experience than 1440. You are already bottlenecked. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. It even says it. It's overkill. It's overkill. Imagine if you, with the GPU that you have, you're probably running into performance issues because you're 1440. Go 1080.
Heads.
In Cyberpunk, the 5090 is the first card to ever crack triple digits at our Ultra preset, scoring a 30 FPS lead over the 4090. In Alan Wake 2, the story remains largely the same, offering a noticeable difference in playability compared to any previous flagship. Black Myth Wukong at cinematic settings, however, is the Everest-like summit where even the 5090 falls short of...
Dude. Chat, isn't it kind of sad that we're playing and buying video games and we're getting less than 60 frames and this is like a celebration? Like, what the fuck are... Bro, bro, this is a mass hysteria.
60 FPS average. Perhaps an overclocking Sherpa could get us to the peak,
or not,
but that's a subject for another day.
They sell you on 4K, they sell you on RTX, they sell you on everything. And whenever they test the benchmarks and it underperforms, they say, well, it's 4K. Actual hysteria. Get some fucking help,
Red Dead
dude.
Redemption 2, the 5090 does not impress, especially when you consider its price. And in F124, the 5090 continues to operate at that kind of level of performance that no one else can touch. The problem is that for all the hype, the performance bump is roughly on par with the price bump, making the 5090 look less like a truly next generation product and more like a 4090 Super GT Zikai Budokai. But what's the deal? I thought that Blackwell was supposed to be the giant leap forward with all that flip metering and neural rendering and increased ray triangle intersections. What the fuck?
Whoa. All right, hold on. That's a lot of words, but to understand how they're going to impact performance, and they will, we need to understand what they mean. See, Blackwell brings so many new and without requiring any normal maps. Think of like UE5.
This is terrible.
Nanite, which helps ease jarring LOD change effects and saves developer time, but with, AI. To take advantage of these features, NVIDIA loaded the 5090 with the hardware it needs to accelerate them. It's got 5th gen tensor cores, which drastically reduces
chip is so big, and why NVIDIA had to sacrifice some clock speed to keep their yields, and therefore pricing still attainable to the 1%. GDDR7, on the other hand, is kind of a big deal. It boasts double the data rate of GDDR6 while using half as much power per bit. This isn't in large part thanks to the shift to PAM3 signaling. PAM, short
Class card. In the lightly ray-traced F124, AMD comes back to life a little, performing well against the 4080 Super, and the same can be seen metering and swapping them from convolution. Holy heck, that's one tight leather jacket. How the heck did you fit that stuff in those sleeves? With DLSS4 and multi-frame gen, by making use of flip metering and swapping them from convolution neural networks to transformer-based models.
Oh, there's a lot of words again, lots of words again. Let's break it down. DLSS
gen does not increase latency over native with reflex on.
I don't give any of this. DLSX, DX12 Vulkan, fucking NVENC codecs, 3.7, 4.6 gigahertz, 16 gig VRAM, shut the fuck up. Build a better fucking game, optimize your games, pay your fucking devs, AI devs, I don't give a fuck, layoffs, fire everybody if you have to, I don't give a fuck. Make better games that run better. We don't have to do any of this dumb shit, man. Seriously. If you have to, fire everybody. I'm not gonna cry about it. If it means that we're gonna get better frame rate, like holy shit. Okay.
It's here.
I already watched this. Yes, I'm crying. I'm crying because this makes me emotional.